On behalf of organizing committee of 10 days FDP on Indian ethos in management, organized by Teaching Learning Center, Central University of Rajasthan, I welcome eminent speaker of the session, Professor Vipin Gupta. Professor Vipin Gupta is a professor of sensible management and appropriate science at the Jack H. Brown College of Business and Public Administration, California State University, San Bernardino, USA. Professor Vipin Gupta has a PhD in managerial science and applied economics from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. He is a gold medalist from the postgraduate program of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, India. So today he will be delivering his talk on managing the science of everything using divine energy. So sir, welcome.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Today, when my wife was looking at this PowerPoint, she asked me two questions: the scientific validity and what is management relevance. And I'm going to start from there. First, let's take the thesis that the sun takes 90,000 years to complete one rotation around the Vega, the white star. And the Vega white star is the center of the universe. The sun is the creator present within and without each entity in the solar universe. The sun is the creator of everything in the solar universe. What is the scientific validity of 90,000 planning points? Because it takes sun 90,000 years. That means that whatever sun creates will have 90,000 planning points. Those planning points will constitute a unit of energy, because any energy that we get from sun has to include the entire truth of sun's rotation around its center, around its creator. So Vega is the creator of sun. Whatever is the Vega's truth, that has to be part of sun's energy. First, the COVID-19 virus is a mRNA virus. It's a messenger RNA virus. Secondly, the way they are able to manage COVID-19 is through manipulating messenger RNA. The question is, how many messenger RNAs exist in a cell? And the answer is 90,000. A messenger RNA is what gives a message of how to plan to a cell. Second important aspect is that if we have 90,000 planning points, we should also have 90,000 programming points. So you create through planning and then you perpetuate it. That means programming. What is the program mechanism in our physical body? The program mechanism is a protein. A protein consists of programs. It's a storehouse of energy. All the planning energy is contained within a protein. How many different types of proteins a physical body has? The answer is 90,000. And those proteins are the ones that become messenger RNA. Science says that DNA creates protein, but first of all, protein creates the DNA. Protein creates the mRNA. mRNA creates the DNA. And then DNA then shapes. Once we have that energy stored in our body, that then shapes our further planning. So whatever program we have created, that program influences our future planning. And that's what the science looks at. Science says that DNA influences protein creation, but actually it's a protein creation that's influencing DNA. And there's a secondary effect that the science is studying and saying that DNA is shaping the protein. And there are 90,000 genomes in a cell. Whatever sun experiences over 90,000 years, all that energy converged in 90,000 planning points within a cell. And that cell then shapes kind of our planning based on when that cell got created and what's the 90,000 sequence, because every moment a new cell is being created. And that includes a different 90,000 unit of energy, because if the year 90,000 year shifts by 1 second, that also has a different energy. That 90,000 doesn't remain the same. So what's the scientific validity? If something takes 90,000 years to create in a one circle, and that reality is circulated again and again every 90,000 years, then each cell should have that reality. Not only each cell, but the whole physical body should have that reality. So both microcosm and macrocosm should mirror the reality of the creator. The sun is the creator. This is just one example. In the book, you will find thousands of these examples. Now, let me take an antithesis. There are two kinds of doctrines in the universe. One, this is called doctrine of emanation. Emanation means somebody else out there is creating things. So Vega is creating things and sun is creating things. We are just the puppets. Our cell get created, and whatever energy is included in the cell, what's the reality included in the cell, that's what our behavior is. We project that behavior. That conditions our behavior. That's one doctrine. It says that we are just the puppets It's the God, somebody outside who is running the show. We are just projecting the show as a television. The antithesis is that no, it's the sentient entity who is the source of everything. It's not Vega. Incidentally, in Indian thought, Vega is considered the Param deity kingdom. So you have one side, it's a star, which is a creator of everything. And the energies of that star are immanent within us, within each of our cells. And the combination of those cells shapes the totality of our experience. If each of those cells is vibrant, that means that we are able to experience the entire totality of experience of the universe. If they are degenerating and dying, there are blockages, the cell consciousness is low, that means that we cannot experience the truth of the universe. So let's look at the flip side. Doctrine is called doctrine of immanence. The doctrine of immanence says that everything is within us. Whatever happens outside, that doesn't matter. Western doctrine is called doctrine of emanation. So that's why there is one God. Everything comes from one element. The Eastern doctrine is doctrine of immanence, which says that everything is consciousness, not energy. Emanation says that everything is energy. It's a divine energy. It's not divine consciousness. The Eastern doctrine says everything is divine consciousness because it's within us. It's not outside. According to that antithesis, is consciousness is the source of everything. The term conscious means sentient. That's the element. It's one of the tattvas. It's actually the 8th tattva. 5, all of you know: ether, earth, air, water, fire. The 6th one is called divine tattva. It's also called time tattva. Divya or kala is the 6th tattva. The 7th tattva is guru. So guru tattva, I call it Guider tattva, Guider. It also means primordial space. So there's a time element and then the space element. The 7th tattva is called Dik, D-I-K in Jainism. So Dik is space, primordial space, and Guide, a guru. Then the 8th tattva is sentient element. I call it Shini, social, human, ecological, economic, national, and psychological well-being. So sentient, conscious is the 8th tattva. So you don't need a guru if you are a conscious person. That conscious person becomes our guru. So that's the conscious entity is called Siddha. And those Siddh Purush are people who are conscious of everything. Energy value of Siddha is same as Shiva. So Shiva is the Siddha. Any Siddh is Shiva. So Shiva, who is Shiva? Shiva's literal meaning is goalkeeper. A goalkeeper who is conscious of all goals and keeper of their fulfillment. A conscious entity is a goalkeeper who has a consciousness of the thing that matters, the goal that matters. The reason why a Siddha is able to manifest whatever thing is needed. They can create fragrance, they can create anything right there. They can create gold and give it to you out of nothing. Who consciously conceives and manifests the thing. Okay, what's the thing? The goal. So thing is the sum of sentient entity plus the universe that is conceived and manifested by the sentient entity. So it's a Shiva plus whatever Shiva has created is the thing, is the goal. So whatever Shiva has created that transcends beyond Shiva. So that's called Mahashiva. Mahashiva's literal meaning is goal. Shiva's energy value is 7. Mahashiva then becomes 7 plus 2. And how you find that 2? It's a universe conceived within the consciousness of Shiva and then manifested as energy outside Shiva. So there are 2 units, a consciousness unit and energy unit. With a normal entity, we create something, we invest our energy, it leads to our entropy. We die because we are creating all these wishes, create thermodynamic entropy in us, and therefore we become old and we die. A Shiva is an entity, a Siddha is an entity who can manifest things without their own entropy. They don't destroy themselves, but they can create anything without destroying themselves. They know that science and art. So Shiva plus Mahashiva is 16. That's consciousness. That's a mantra. So mantra is the way in which you can manifest a thing without entropy of yourself. What's the significance of 16? 16 has relevance in all religions. Sri Krishna has 16 energy points. Many of the Devis are 16 colors. 16 the foundation. 16 means 2 octaves, a lower octave and an upper octave. Octave is 8. It's like a musical octave. There's an octave of truth inside, an octave of illusion of that outside, energy of our consciousness outside. So therefore, there is a double octave. Double octave means 16. Mother Nature is 8-dimensional. Mother Nature has 3 time zones, past, present, and future. It's a triangle, and the triangle defines a circle. So once you have 3 entities, a creator, creature, and creation, then a rotation begins. Because a creation can become a creature, so all three can interrotate. Mother Nature is 8 dimension, 3 past, present, and future. That's why we call Trinity. And then 4 is the 4 direction: east, west, north, and south. 8th, which is the octave starting point, is the entity which is one with Mother Nature, full oneness with Mother Nature. A sentient entity is a person, always fresh in the moment. Sid is always moving with Mother Nature. So there's no inertia. If there's an inertia, that means that Mother Nature's reality is different and your reality is different. So in our physical body, when we have cells of all these 90,000 different energy points, and if they're not clean, then what happens is some energy points become more dominating and other energy points become less dominating. And therefore, our reality becomes different from Mother Nature's reality. Siddha, Shiva, is one point within Mother Nature. There are 7 other points. That's why Shiva's energy is 7. Siddha's energy is 7. Illuminating value in the universe is 7, because what gets illuminated is this 7. That's why we call it 7th heaven, lucky 7. Because lucky 7 means that you are the sentient entity who is conceiving that 7 other dimensions. Once we understand that 8 is Mother Nature, then what becomes a absolute creator? So every moment, the person who is creating, the Param Brahma, is 4. Why? At any moment, the present value is half of the total life. Okay, it's a half circle, because half circle is sort of invisible. So it's called self-perpetuating value. Self-perpetuating value is always half of overall value. So we project half of our energy outside and half energy inside. Param creator, the soul, and Pitra, they are all energy value is 4. It's half of Mother Nature, because they include one dimension of Mother Nature. The other dimension is other. So soul plus the father who's creating the soul, Pitra and Atma, is a totality is 8. Each one of them is 4. If 8 is Mother Nature, then who am I? So I is a self-luminous entity. And what do you mean by self-luminous entity? Swam. So Swam is I. A self-luminous entity is Mother Nature plus a self-perpetuating value of Mother Nature which gets projected. So 12, 8 plus 4, 12. What is 16? 16 is a Mother Nature inside you and Mother Nature outside you, and you are oneness with that. So that creates 16. So Madhusudan or Sati Parvati is 16. Shiva and Mahashiva is 16. Madhusudan in a cell is called Golgi complex. Golgi body, Golgi body. So within us, we have Shri Krishna. Within us, we have each of these entities. Soul is our personal effect. Whatever influence we have on the universe across our birth, that's the soul. We are the paternal creator of our soul. We are the Pitra of the soul that we create by influencing everything, by creating psychic linkages, by giving birth to children, by making other friends, by influencing others. All that is our soul energy diffused in the universe. Once we die, our soul becomes a self-luminous entity. So the overall value of an entity includes you as self-luminous entity and your soul as a self-luminous entity. That means a 24. It's called Trivi Krama. Trivi Krama is energy value is 24. If consciousness is 16, that means an entity who creator of consciousness. So that primordial creator with a value of 32 is Krishna. Shri Krishna has an energy value of 10, which is same as Parvati. That's the physical Krishna, Shri Krishna. But Krishna as Tattva, it's one of the Tattvas. Okay, it's primordial oneness with that Tattva. It's a primordial creator. That energy value is 32. So if creator energy value is 32, then what is 64? Creation who has within energy of creator, but outside also can be creator. That entity is called Greet Palala. P-A-L-A-L-A in Sanskrit. Greet means gift, a divine gift, the creator and the creation totality. Okay, what is 128? 128 is a possibility, Hariti, H-A-R-I-T-I. It's a possibility that can happen once you know how to create something using consciousness. Anything is possible. 256 is Saraswati. It's also called Omkara, primal sound, because sound is the creator of everything. So Saraswati, Supuma is the word which is used for Saraswati, and that's the maker of possibility. If you go 512, that means that you have 256 within and 256 without. That's called Sora, ancestrality. Ancestrality defines your ability to create Saraswati within and without. And if you go even beyond that, it's 1024, that's called Aditi, octave of possibility or tree of life. Aditi is considered mother of all deities. Oneness with the goal is 1 goes to 9, that means 19. So Mother Nature gives a unit of energy. The energy value of energy, Shakti, is 19. To fulfill oneness with the goal for one who does not have internal consciousness of the goal, a cell's energy value is 19. Actually, it's very easy to scientifically validate that, 23 chromosomes from father side, 23 from mother side, 23 feminine chromosomes and 23 masculine chromosomes. Out of 23 chromosomes, 4 are conditioning codons. One is start codon, other is stop codon, then there's a continue codon and a discontinue codon. Once you exclude that, there are 19 left. And those 19 define cells. So 19 chromosomes is what defines a cell. And that's why a cell is a unit of energy. You have a battery, you have a cell, and that creates energy. People don't spend time understanding what's given. Everybody just copies it and they read out the shlokas and they read out knowledge, which I call borrowed knowledge, which is not consciousness, it's para-consciousness. It's consciousness of teachers who have also borrowed that knowledge from Sati Parvati, and they never understood the totality of this. So once you understand the totality, you understand that how you can be creator of everything. So I'll take now questions.
Sir, good morning. This is Avantika Singh. I want to know, what was the inspiration for writing this book?
So my guru's name is Shri Kartar Singh Yadav ji, and he left his physical body actually in 1997, and he predicted that he's going to leave today on 14th of January, a year in advance. And he was my father's professor in IIT Kharagpur in early 60s, professor of agriculture. Then he became vice chancellor of Hisar University, and then he became joint commissioner of Ministry of Agriculture because his powers were known to everybody. And therefore, retired from joint commissioner, government of India didn't want to leave him still, and they made him the resident director of all agro industries. Father 24/7 with him since 1979. He's the one who guided me, and he lives in Primordial Greater Kingdom. There are only about 1,000 entities in the history of the universe who have reached that stage. This knowledge, what I'm sharing, you will not find anywhere. It's really Shri Krishna and Mahasaraswati who are guiding me to write this. I don't think any of this. What I'm saying is instantaneous. When I write things, it's instantaneous. There's no thinking.
Yeah, one more thing that I wanted to ask, when we read Bhagavad Gita, it says that Lord Krishna had narrated the Gita to Suryadev Vivaswan, crores of years back. So how does that compare with what your story?
5500 BC, approximately, of Shri Krishna, that's correct. Science has shown 80% of male DNA destroyed at a time which has been dated with Shri Krishna's birth and Mahabharata war. Okay, and only male, not female. We all know that in Mahabharata war, it's the only men who fought, not the women. Science also proves the date of Parshuram. It said that Parshuram killed many generations of Asura over a 5,000-year period. And one of the biggest anomalies in history of genetics is that why within a period of 5,000 years, between 50,000 BC and 45,000 BC, Neanderthals vanished, and only male side, not the female side. It's the Homo sapiens, which is the Vedic people, who interbred with those females. So only the male Neanderthal genes got destroyed. Parshuram, over 5,000 years, between 50,000 BC and 45,000 BC, over multiple generations, he killed that. And science kind of proves it. Of course, they cannot explain. They say, how can such a robust species, which was widespread in Europe, Germany, Parshuram went to Germany and killed and came back again and again for 5,000 years. Many other examples, once you look at the entire history.
Sir, all the books are related to divine energy, the 12 books.
It will transform all that we know because science looks at the effects. As a manager, whatever I create, as a scientist, I study that, I say this is the best technique. So a manager is not, a management scientist is not conceiving the technique. It's a practitioner who conceived the technique. A person with consciousness found that technique got implemented, that was very successful. A management scientist comes and tests all of that and says that this is the best technique. So a management scientist is just a marketing promoter, a credit collector and credit distributor. That's what a management scientist is. Okay, so a management scientist is coming and collecting the credit and saying that give me my name, I have patented this knowledge, this is my knowledge. But you found it for somebody else. You're not even giving credit to that person. You put that at one sample and you made that person anonymous who created this technique. And you're distributing this credit to everybody that you don't know anything and you need to learn from me. So the person who you learned from, you are now trying to educate that person that learn from me because I have studied so many people. But you wasted your energy in studying 99,000 people while only one person was the one that you needed to study. West says that there is one deity. Why? Because the whole Eastern universe has, right from the history, has educated the West. Okay, by saying that you don't know the reality, you don't know about consciousness. So Western people learn it and then they teach Eastern people. Eastern people say, yes, I'm learning from them. Because I don't have confidence in my knowledge. Because why I don't have confidence? Because I keep on getting this. I say I need to be inclusive. So I take fake knowledge and my knowledge, I make my knowledge fake and I get more and more fake knowledge. So that's why the world is moving in descending order. So that's Kali Yuga. So as I said, Kali Yuga is finishing in 2032. 2032, Satyug begins. Okay, so Satyug begins in 2032. What that means is that both doctrine of immanence, that is something is within us, and doctrine of emanation, that energy is without us, is wrong. It's incomplete because that within and without is us. So we are all Shivas. We need to understand and be conscious of our potential. So when a guru says, I'm going to bless you, that blessing is not good enough if you cannot become Shiva with that blessing. If you're using that blessing to fulfill your wishes, which is not your self-development of understanding who you are, then that blessing actually is reducing your consciousness because you become more and more dependent on that guru. You say that Bhagwan is going to fulfill your things, but that Bhagwan is not outside. That Bhagwan is within you. Three things which are fulfilling your wishes. One is when you ask a Bhagwan or deity or Allah or God, then that energy is activated within you and that fulfills the things. That consciousness fulfills the things. Second, when people say that I am creating Shri Krishna, they use their sentient energy. Whatever energy Shri Krishna is within us, you put that in that murti. It's not, Shri Krishna is not coming from outside. We are putting that Shri Krishna from within us outside. So of course, now you go and pray that person. So whatever person Shri Krishna was put there, that Shri Krishna is now giving you blessings. Third, there are a lot of Siddh Purush who believe that their whole purpose in life is to help others. Help others means make others dependent on them. It's not about developing them to be Shiva so that they can become the guru, the same guru that they are, same Siddha that they are. So what happens is that after they leave the physical body, they still keep on blessing and eventually they lose their energy. And then they take our energy. That cycle continues. That all the devotees, they give their blessings to the guru by praying them, and the guru gives blessings to you. So that cycle continues. So when you say I am praying Hanuman, Hanumanji is not going to bless you. It's the Hanuman's analog. Actually, if you see them in invisible light, they are Hanuman, because they have worshipped Hanuman so much that they have become Hanuman. So they are the ones who are blessing you. Okay. So one has to understand that we are capable of becoming Hanuman if we wish to. We are capable of becoming Shiva if we wish to. But most important thing is that everybody is capable of doing that. And we need to provide them the path and the space and the freedom and the consciousness and the approach and techniques so that each one of us can become Shiva and be Shiva, because we don't need to become Shiva. We are Shiva.
Dr. Amit Agrawal, why we say Satyam Shivam Sundaram?
So first of all, Satyam, in India, it's said that the most important, most complex part of scriptures in India is Mandukya Puran. If you understand Mandukya Puran, then it's said that you have understood everything. A lot of people tell you the story of Ashtavakra Muni and Janaka king. Janaka king dreams one day that he has died. He was extremely poor also in his dream. He lost everything. he wakes up and says that what is real? Is this the real or is my dream the real? And he doesn't say anything else. And nobody is able to understand what Janaka king is saying. And finally, Ashtavakra Muni comes, says, I know how to get the king back to his senses. And he goes and asks the king, who said, who are the people right now? He said, everybody who's in Darbar. And he said, is that all? He says, no. In addition, Janaka king, you are also the person who was in both the dream and here. Therefore, the truth, Satyam, is you. King Janaka was not Satyam. Satyam was Ashtavakra, because Ashtavakra knew about Janaka's dream even without Janaka telling him that. So Ashtavakra was the one who gave that dream to Janaka. So octave of truth came from Ashtavakra. So actually Ashtavakra was twin soul of Janaka. So Janaka had forgotten about Ashtavakra, and that was Ashtavakra's way to build the connection with Janaka. So everybody, including Shankaracharya, interpreted that saying that Janaka was the truth. That's incorrect. And I haven't seen any commentator in India who has said that Ashtavakra is the truth. And it makes sense. If Ashtavakra's logic makes sense to you, that both the dream and the reality, Janaka was the only person there, then it means that Ashtavakra is the truth, because Ashtavakra is the only one who knows about that, not Janaka. Okay, so if there's a truth, then there's a Shiva. Shiva means sentient entity. Only a sentient entity knows the truth. And if you know the truth, then you know the Sundaram, which is the beauty. Beauty, so in quantum mechanics, you have truth quark and a beauty quark. Beauty quark means Maya. So Maya becomes truth when a sentient entity mediates that. So if we imagine something, that's our Maya. But we use our energy to manifest that, then it becomes reality. So everything that we see is Maya, but it has been transformed by sentient entities using their soul, their personal effect, into real things. So that's Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Sir, I have just one very small question. I am Shantanu speaking from Baroda, India. Sir, divinity is a very noble concept, but being a management teacher, when we talk about it with the students, it's very good to teach. When it comes to the practical ground, the students find it very difficult in the cutthroat competition, and they feel that this is a topic, you can say, almost impossible or very difficult to implement in the corporate world. So what would be your submission on this theme, sir?
I'm a professor of strategic management international business. All my courses have now been transformed using these concepts. I'm going to post the entire Zoom lectures and PowerPoints on my website, which is, so you can download free of cost 20 hours of lectures in 10 modules about strategic management, teaching that to American students. So I've translated that without using this concept. So divine energy, divine, what is divine? I tell my students, divine is conscious determinations, conscious decisions. Your ability to consciously decide, then imagine, that's Maya. Okay, that's the second eye of divine. Then V is virtue. So your own virtue, you are able to intuit that virtue. You're able to bring those virtues to intuition about the most cost-effective natural path to maintain excellence. Understand very clearly that for strategic planning, what they need is divine. They need to be divine. They also understand they need to be sentient. And I tell them sentient is Shini. One, social well-being, human well-being, ecological well-being, economic well-being, national well-being, and psychological well-being. If there's a duality, if you want your private interest, and if your private interest is not focused on social well-being, that means that you are never going to be happy. You should not be focused on everybody else's happy. It's not about universe's Shini well-being. It's about your Shini well-being. Because that society, you must promote that connection with society. Anything beyond you, what is social means anything that you are not. So even your family is social. You're concerned about all these well-beings, that's sentient. That's what is consciousness. And then guider is globalization, uniqueness, inclusive, diversity, engagement, and responsibility. So I tell them that everything is about sentient Shini values, guider values or guider power, and divine energy. And that's the start of my strategic management conversation with them.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now we understand why people say that God is within, and the concepts behind the scientific concepts that you discussed. with us. And I think it is for the first time that someone has done such a great work on divine energy using scientific calculations.
Let me say that divine energy scientifically is gravito-magnetic energy. It's gravitational energy plus magnetic energy. So it's something which attracts. So that's the scientific equivalent.
Yeah.
Even dark matter, everything has a specific energy equivalent. And in my other books, I will explain what is it's a gravitational potential. So I will explain what dark matter is composed of, what quantum particle it's composed of. It's very specific. What is black hole made of? Okay, which energy component, which quantum particle it is made of. I will give all the details.
So can we get the link for further reading if you don't mind?
The book, of course, it's going to be available from 16th.
Okay, sir. Okay.
On Amazon and other places. I shared the ISBN, and it's also available in a digital format. And there will be both hardcover and softcover, paperback and hardcover. The first book, let me warn you, it's going to be very complex, but there's an extensive Hindi and English index. So you can look at the index and go from there. But the first book is very, very complex and technical because it's a completely new language and we bring a lot of baggage that limits our ability.
All the tirthas that we have, the spots of energy, and they are there in all the, and Mount Kailash is one which is kind of revered by Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, and Hindus. So there has to be something much beyond that sort of religion. So something on that. I mean, looking at the physical form of architecture that we look at it and how it affects the energy in all of us.
So that's a great question. So there are three different ways. One is that if there were ancient entities in the past in those locations, they energize that. Okay. So for instance, my father and my guru, Shri Prasad Singh Yadavi, they used to go together in my father's car, which is an old Tata Mobile, which has been converted into a car. Okay. And they used to go every day in 1980s, and my father has still not sold it because he says that that car is so much energy that he doesn't want it to sell at all. So he says that every element of that car is energized. And one day, so there was no petrol in the car, and he touched his hand, and the car ran on water. Every Siddha can do. So, but he used to say that he does that only for testing because he doesn't want to interfere with what Mother Nature does. And that's a very important principle of nonviolence. So in terms of coming back to your question, so first is that if there's ancient entities in those places in the past, they left their energy. Second is their coordinates projection of energy from the universe. For instance, Mangalnath temple is in India, which is the closest place from Mangal to Earth. And the role of Mangal is to globalize energy, and role of Jupiter is to localize energy. So Jupiter takes every energy that exists in solar universe at the present moment and localizes that. That's why it's called Guru planet. And Mangal plays a opposite role. All these planets and all these things, they have projected their energy at particular point. And depending on how that configuration is taking place, those points become auspicious or less auspicious, because that's all sentient energy. What is sentient energy? Sentient energy is consciousness, but it's also astral energy. So sentient energy source is Vega, the North Star. That's why from the north, we get that energy. So head, that's why head is that sentient part, north part. When we are looking at something, it's because we are conscious of that and we are projecting our energy and looking at that. So that's why every moment we are wasting our energy and spending our energy, investing our energy. If we learn to project our energy in the direction that we want to focus our energy, then we are able to create anything that we want by conceiving that in our consciousness and manifesting it. And I also discussed how Vega star gets created. So and when the entire universe gets destroyed, because the first book is really about creation of the entire universe as a cell. So a cell actually creates the entire universe, whole astrological universe and zodiac universe. Then beyond that are 18 other primordial kingdoms. That's what in Indian literature, Hinduism, those 18 heavens are given. Those are beyond those starseed kingdoms. And then after that 18 is the three kingdoms. 21st is the Param primordial kingdom. That's what is Kailasha. And that's what is Vega star. It's based in Vega star.